Ladies and gentlemen, you are now tuned into the hottest podcast on the internet. All raw opinions. Come on. Norma, I see you. Rollo. All raw opinions.
Welcome to Our Raw Opinions, Episode 6.
Episode 6. Look who we got on today.
We welcome Shelby. Woo-hoo. What's up, girl?
What up, Shelby?
Hello, guys.
How are you?
Good, good. How are you guys?
Good. We're happy to have you.
Thank you.
Look at you, all full of smiles, all ready to go.
I know, girl.
Norma knows me. Like, this is me all the time.
She's always happy.
Yes.
Well, welcome to our show. You know,
Yes.
I'm happy to have you on. And I heard from Norma that you got quite a big following on TikTok.
Yeah, 2.9 million, I guess, is pretty big.
God
Damn.
damn. And what about Instagram?
Instagram, I think, is like about 32,000. So that's,
Gosh.
not as high as TikTok, but,
Yes.
it's a process. It's a work in progress.
Work in progress.
Yes.
So maybe you can tell someone like me, like how do you get those followers on TikTok? Was there like a moment when you had a viral video, or how did it all become?
Yeah,
Yeah.
so I was honestly somebody that just said, I am not downloading TikTok. I am not being that person because
You?
Yes.
What? Okay.
TikTok came out in a time, the pandemic, really.
Right.
It was out before then, but really TikTok took off when the world shut down. And so I am a certified medical assistant. So I was working in the doctor's offices at that time when the world was shutting down. Everything was kind of slowing down. Even though I was in the medical field, I was in urology. So
His favorite field, by the way. Go on.
I can tell you everything I saw.
I'm all right.
But so I, was like, people were sending me TikTok videos all the time through Snapchat. And I was like, oh my gosh, stop. They're like, well, if you just downloaded TikTok,
Right.
we wouldn't have to do this over Snapchat. I was like, fine. And so, of course, we all didn't have much to do when we were all in our houses most of the time. And so I downloaded TikTok and I was like, okay, that's it. That's as far I'm going.
Yeah.
So I was still working in the doctor's offices. Our patient count, of course, decreased majorly, but I was still working in a field that was needed. And we saw people that were, for emergency purposes, basically. Right. So I downloaded TikTok and I was like, okay, scroll, look at everybody else's videos. And then I would just post the random shit. I was like, you know what? I can do this. Who's going to freaking see this? Nobody's going to see this.
Right.
And so I would dick around for the first few videos and literally the first video was just a horse. And I was like, who cares? This doesn't matter. I can literally record and post, and this app is not going to who cares?
I've seen your TikToks. They're pretty funny. I like
thank
them.
you. Well, now it's
they're hilarious.
Now so how I got to that point was about 4 or 5 videos in, I recorded one me at work in scrubs dancing in the hallway at a doctor's office. And within 24 hours, I got almost, I think, 10 million views and then
What?
100,000 followers.
Wow.
And
Do
then
you think it has to do because you're a little person?
Well,
Yeah.
I was going to ask that, though.
Well, I took it first.
You took it for, not to state the obvious.
Right.
And we talked a little before the interview, but
Right.
that's the correct term, though, right?
Yes, little person is preferred. Now, I don't want to speak on every little person.
Right.
I feel like everybody's entitled to their own raw opinions.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
But I feel like generally everybody that I have come encounter with does prefer little person if you are describing or simply our name. Because
Yes.
why
Right,
would
of
I?
course.
Why would I want to go? What if I described you guys as something, and then
Right.
that's not
Damn giants
Yeah,
Fucking big people.
yeah.
with big heads. Come on.
Yeah, big,
Exactly.
That's
So
funny.
I would prefer Shelby, but if you're describing me, definitely little person.
little person.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yes,
got
yes.
it.
We do not. Most of us do not prefer the term midget It is
Yeah.
actually a derogatory term.
Right.
So think of like the meanest thing you could ever call somebody.
Right.
Because I
Right.
never want to speak on behalf of another like disability, race, or anything because I'm not that. So
Right.
it's not right of me to say like, oh, it's just like calling somebody that. No, because I don't know what that's like, but I do
Right.
know what it's like to be called a midget, and that's so degrading and
Right.
dehumanizing.
Right.
Back in the day, midget was such a popular term to use to describe a little person
Right.
because they a lot of little people would work in like the circus acts
Right.
and like do all that kind of stuff. You got
Okay.
Oompa Loompas in the Charlie and Chocolate Factory. And so people didn't know what to call them. And
Right.
so
Right.
midget, I mean, just like any other derogatory term, honestly saying it, it's like almost like chills, but basically it's just little people,
Right.
little person.
Little person. Okay.
Or LP. Like I call,
LP.
if I were to
Yeah.
describe you guys, I say average height person or average person, which is AP. So I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, my AP friend Norma. Because
Yeah.
like if I'm talking to a little person, like
Okay.
not that like I would always use your first name.
Right.
But like sometimes they're like, oh, do you mean LP? Like, cause they might know them.
Right.
So I'll be like, oh no, my AP homie Norma
Yeah.
or whatever the case
Yeah.
may be.
Got it.
So yeah.
You know, when I met her, like I fell in love with her. Like I didn't see her size or nothing because, my family's tiny, you
Right.
know, and I have a cousin that's tiny. She's probably a couple inches taller than you, and my sisters are small. And I'm like, it doesn't matter to me. When I met her, I'm like, she was fucking fearless. Like, she'll follow me on Instagram and TikTok. I'm like, okay, and I'm like, this bitch horseback rides. This bitch, how in the hell? Like nothing has stopped you.
No. And that's how I was raised. I feel like my parents did such a good job of like not putting a bubble wrap around
Right.
me and like you can't do this, this, and this. Like the doctors would be like, don't jump on trampolines, you're gonna like you could break your neck. Don't go skydiving. I did all those things. And I was like, I don't care. Like let me learn, let me prove you
Right.
guys all wrong. And so my parents like did like a happy medium of, like we want you to do what you want to do and flourish and like
Yes.
build that confidence. But at the same time, of course, everybody has their days and moments. So yeah, I mean,
That's interesting.
I think the
Yeah.
best way to go about it is to, if you can, not everybody can have like such a great confidence or
Right.
thing about them. And that's not that person's fault. It could be everything to do with how they were raised or like what traumas they went through. Because I've been pretty lucky, I would say that like I haven't really experienced none of those. I mean, I don't say none of those things, but just a lot of other things that little people have experienced. So I
Right.
can't.
So there's like a little people community out there. You guys have your
Yes.
own little
Yes.
your thing, and you guys have your community. Like
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what goes on in that?
Yes.
Like
A lot goes on.
A lot.
yeah,
a
it's-
lot.
it's like
Norma
so-
hears it sometimes.
Yeah.
Oh,
like-
yeah.
But so there's this organization, a nonprofit organization called
Okay.
Little People of America. My parents actually adopted me, so they couldn't have kids.
Okay.
They went through the whole IVF process and everything, and then they adopted my brother and I. I'm the only little person in my family, birth family and my family.
Got it.
And so, but my parents were talked to when I was literally a baby, like, hey, you have a little person, like you have a daughter with dwarfism. That's the scientific term.
Okay.
You should join this organization called Little People of America. They put me in that community or organization when I was 1 year old. So I'm 29 now. I've been, through it
Youngster.
since 28 years. But yeah, so it's called Little People of America.
Okay.
There are over 400 different types of dwarfism.
What?
So
400?
Jeez.
400.
That's crazy.
Yes, and I'm the most common type, so which is achondroplasia or Akon for short.
Akon,
We call
yeah.
it Akon, just like the
Akon?
rapper
Yeah,
singer
Akon,
Akon.
yeah, yeah.
Just think of it that way.
Yeah.
So like my type of dwarfism, our torso is average. So like when I'm sitting next to you guys, I'm probably gonna be about the same height sitting next to you.
Yeah.
Right.
But my arms and legs are shorter.
Okay.
So that's
Yeah.
it. And then I can't even speak about the other types of dwarfism because there's so
There's
many.
so many.
Wow.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
many. But mine being the most common type. And then so I have met a lot of my little people friends at conventions. So this organization puts on conventions every year in the summertime for a week long. It's always in a different state. And everybody's invited. I mean, as long as you're kind of a part of the organization,
Right.
you'll know about it basically.
Right.
Yeah.
And so like this year, for example, it's in Austin, Texas in the summer, and it's always over 4th of July. And then for the whole week, you're staying at the hotel and you're meeting people depending on your age group, like, you know, you could be dating, you could be scoping out the scene, or you could be like just trying to make friends. Because when you're younger, like, that's what was really important, was making friends, because you understood, wow, like that. All these people are going through the same thing I am, or they're very similar to what I'm going through, or they look like me, you know? And so,
you felt comfortable going to these because everybody's like at the same boat you are, and everybody feels comfortable being around each other, and you guys end up playing games and stuff. You guys, sports. It's like a big sports event,
there's
right?
sports like every day. So there's soccer, volleyball, basketball, track and field. And for me, how I explain it to somebody, because they're like, why do you go to these things? Or like, if somebody was asked what brings out, like, what, I guess, like, kind of what does this week bring out in you? And I said, it's 1 week out of the year where I feel like, I don't want to say normal, because I don't think nobody's normal, but just at ease.
Nobody's normal.
No.
we're all those screwed up. You know?
But like, I just feel at ease. Like, I feel like I don't have, like, you know, when I'm constantly asking somebody to reach something for something,
Got
like
it.
everybody else is at that convention is going through the same thing. Or like when we play sports, it's an even level playing field.
Yeah.
It's so competitive because we are all we are all little.
Yeah.
And we get to finally, like, a lot of us might be playing sports like in our high school days or whatever. So it's harder. You know, you're up against the bigger guys, even though you're the same age as somebody. And then there's dances every night till 1 a.m.
Yeah, you
so
party.
We party.
She'll send me pictures. I'm like, damn, girl, I want to go next year.
So now let's talk a little about the love lives in the little people community. Now, I have a question though.
Yeah.
If you hook up with, see, I'm the guy who kind of asks the questions that everybody thinks though. Everybody wants to know.
Yes.
Yeah, but that's good because Norma knows a lot. So that's
See, I'm the anyways. So now, if you would have a baby with another little person,
good question.
Is that person going to carry on the gene pool, I guess, or can they still grow to be?
Yes.
Is it a 50-50?
Or how does that work? Yeah.
So with a little person to a little person, it's 50% little person, 25% average height.
Oh, shit.
So it's somebody like you, 25% fatal. And
fatal.
so that's huge. It's a huge percentage for a huge chance for somebody to lose the baby. And that is because I honestly don't know, like, to the T, the scientific reason, but I do know. So if you're taking a little person and a little person, so let's say my type of dwarfism and another man's type of dwarfism, same one, okay?
Right.
We can't both give the dwarfism gene because then that's fatal. So they don't ever survive after birth, about a couple hours.
Wow.
And so you know that earlier on, and you have the choice to, you know, if you want to continue, even if you know, or if you don't. And then you have a 50% chance because obviously there's two of us, so it's a greater chance. I'm 50, that person's 50, so one of us has to give that gene in order for it. And then your next question might probably be is if I were to hook up with an average height guy, it's just straight.
That was coming up.
I'll help you out, but it's 50-50.
Yeah.
So you don't have that chance of, you know, that 25% chance of losing, because obviously how are you going to give the 50% dwarfism gene? Like,
right.
So it's more. So is there like a 50? There's more of a chance for the baby to survive because it has a chance to be either LP or
AP.
an average or AP, right?
Yeah.
So okay.
Yeah. I mean, anybody can, of course, and this is of course sad, but like anybody can lose a child for any reason.
Absolutely.
So like obviously there's still a chance, but it's definitely not 25%. And I know numerous little people that have gone through that not only once but twice.
Do the AP community prefer, like, because a lot of the AP community hook up and they end up married, you know, most of them, like you have told me before. LP, sorry. I apologize.
I was like, yes, the AP community. No. I think you meant LP.
LP is what I meant. I apologize.
It's okay. I got you.
Do they end up doing more? Have you heard that they end up doing IVF most of the time, or adoption?
You can. And my mom actually kind of talks to me about that because I think she's worried if I were to ever go through that. Like, she does not want me to have to go through that. But I'm also,
Are you open to adoption?
Of course, because I was adopted.
Yeah.
You know, like, and no bad blood. Like, I know my birth family. It's an open adoption.
Yeah,
so
that's
it was really just my birth mom and birth dad at the time were very young. They just knew they couldn't provide what they would hope to provide for me. And that was it. Like, that was the reason. So, of course, I mean, there's actually a lot of little people in foreign countries, unfortunately, that are in foster care or in orphanages.
Yeah.
Because in other countries, they're not as educated or up to date.
Right.
They don't have like all the doctors and everything that we have in the healthcare system to provide education.
Right.
So I've always wanted to adopt a little person in another country. Like, of course, if I could, I'd have to adopt all the kids that need a home. But like, I feel like somebody with a disability is going to be like, not kind of, a lot of people look away because they're like, oh, like that's a lot of work. And it's like, hello, like, no, it's not. Just do your homework, like be educated and stuff like that. So
also, do you feel now, like, you know, with your following you have, do you feel like you're representing the little people? Do you feel like you kind of have like a obligation now? Like, I got to represent for them now.
Yeah.
You
And
know?
I think like it's hard because I want to, of course, represent and educate in such a positive way.
Right.
But here we try, like our whole lives, we try to like educate the world about our disability or about our community. But like, you're not going to make everybody happy with what you do, just like any other community, any other, you know, difference.
Because other little people might disagree with you. Go, that's not how we feel. Or this, you know,
Well, some people consider it exploitation. There's a lot of little people that are in the entertainment industry, not like I am. Like this, I'm kind of very like minimal with my entertainment, but because I do like to put myself in a good situation. I'm gonna only do entertainment that I think I'm gonna feel good about, not feel embarrassed about. It's good, but like at the same time, like if I was constantly worried about what other people think, like then this would never go well.
Well, to be honest, I just want to, from an outside person looking in, a guy looking in, I think you're representing very good. I saw your TikTok. I thought
thank you.
It was fun. It's having a good time, and I don't even. I mean, obviously, yes, you're a little person, but you're a human being.
Right.
That's all it is.
But
you know?
that was my whole point.
Yeah.
It's like you could literally see me like just dance or like walk across the fucking room. And I just want to show, no matter what I'm doing in that damn video, I just want you to see that I'm a human being.
Exactly.
And not an object or somebody that's like, you know,
but you're
can't
fun. You're
function.
having fun. I think you're having fun in your TikToks. You're just having a good time, and I think you're representing the community very well.
You are.
Thank you.
And I give her props for that because I'm telling you, when I saw, I'm like, you're getting on a horse. You're on a horse, Norma. What do you think I am? I can get on a horse. I'm like, okay, I know you can get on a horse, but are you putting a helmet? Like I was all more worried than she was. She didn't give a shit. I'm like, but Shelby, Norma, and she would go like this. I'm like.
Can I see you do that to her real quick? Damn.
She loves when I flip her
I
off.
love it, but it's like, I'm all worried for her, but I'm like, at the same time, when I met her, I'm like, this girl is fearless from the moment I met her. I love it. And I love that you're representing the LP community the way you are. And you know what? Again, like he said, you know, you are representing them in a good way.
Yeah.
You know, you are.
I try to. I think like I said, it's hard to please everybody.
Right.
But at the same time, I do want to advocate. And, you know, if I could have a platform, you know, compared to others that may not, like why not speak up about issues that I can speak out about, especially if it's affecting me personally. Like,
well, this is good education for me because I'll be honest. And when we were growing up, the only term we heard was midget.
Yeah. And people tell me that, and that's okay.
We had no idea that was derogatory. And I feel bad now because I don't want to offend nobody.
No,
you know?
and don't feel bad.
You know?
It's more so like this is exactly the reason.
We weren't educated.
Yeah, we weren't educated.
Well, even coming on this podcast, like imagine, you know, I just educated him even more. Like,
I think it's great.
I know I've educated you enough, but you probably learned something too.
But like, I knew before. I knew before.
Yeah.
But even the viewers, like it's you don't need to apologize from the past, but what I do ask is to now learn and maybe educate others.
Yes.
You know, because I know my friends who hear the word midget or if we're out in public and people are pointing and laughing and staring, they're like, they're like, oh hell, like they are like, do not. And they'll educate you, like, you know what? Don't use that term because that's actually, you know, and but you don't need to apologize because that's something that was so back in the day that they thought was allowed.
Yeah. So now I know though. That's good. That's good. So little people.
Little people.
Little people.
Little
Is a good
people.
thing. There we go.
LP.
So another off the wall question from your boy over here.
Of course.
Hey, I'm
Bring
here
it,
to ask those
Rolla.
questions.
Bring it.
So, do you,
Just ask it. Ask it.
Where do you shop then?
Okay.
That's trust me, the viewers, they want to know, where do little people shop then?
Yeah. So I shop just like where Norma would shop.
Yes.
Just
Okay.
like, I mean, I know you're a dude, but that doesn't mean I can't buy this
Right.
dude's thing.
She still goes to the Van store.
Yes. But
Hello.
kid shoes, you know.
Yes.
And
they're cheaper, okay?
Yeah, they are cheaper. That's a plus.
Yeah, there we go.
And, unless we buy heels, then it's like,
Yeah.
oh
Yeah.
gosh, I don't need fucking light up shoes at 29 years old. Like, unless you're trying to find me in a fucking amusement park,
Hey.
like, you don't need to put light up shoes
You
on
go
me.
to a rave, man. You got the,
Yeah, with you.
I'm not gonna lie.
A rave.
That was good. That was good.
But I'm being honest. Like, honestly, like, even just like, you know, like I can go shop where Norma shops, you know? And for me, it's like, okay, come on. Like, yes, I'm the height of somebody of 7 years old, but like, I got
Norma
fucking
shops.
boobs.
By the way,
Like,
Norma shops at the thrift store. I'm just kidding.
Ain't nothing wrong at the thrift store.
I'm kidding.
We go thrifting. Why not, right?
yeah.
I'm kidding.
No, but like, I mean,
Zip it.
but yeah, I mean, I shop where Norma would shop when
The
other.
mall, Express, Nordstrom,
Exactly.
Nordstrom Rack, anywhere.
Because like, I mean, I would love to be able to still buy or pay for little people, kids' clothes, because that's so much cheaper.
Right.
But like, yes, I'm 4 feet, but also I got boobs and ass. Like,
You
I
got
can't-
booty,
I can't
girl.
fit all those
Hey,
things.
She got booty.
that's a good thing.
Yeah,
You were blessed.
you were waiting for that moment. But,
Yes, I was.
but yeah, so anywhere I can shop. But of course, like the jeans I'm wearing right now, I mean, I don't know if the viewers at home can see these, but, you know, I just get them tailored. If I need something that, of course, a lot of things are going to be bigger, you know, if I need something to be tailored, I get it tailored, and that's it.
Yeah.
It's really all
Okay.
it. Nothing really special.
Yeah.
Do you guys have is there like a dating website for you guys and all that, or do you guys just kind of like, I don't know?
So there.
Hold on. After that, I'm going to tell him a story about trying to hook you up.
Oh, good Lord. Okay,
Yeah.
so wait, be careful about that
No,
story.
but I'm not going to say names.
Okay,
I'm not
don't
going to
say names. Don't say
no,
names.
No,
But
no,
again,
we're not saying names.
but-
I'm just so I want to make sure I'm not offending questions. I want to make sure I'm doing good.
But okay, first of all, the whole point of your podcast is to have your raw opinions.
That is true,
And
but I
raw
also-
questions. But I would rather you ask the most like
Yeah.
straightforward question, because what if you're just wondering what if this whole time?
Right.
Like just like the midget thing. Like
Right.
you never knew. And then it would change your whole perspective
Right.
of like how you see little people, not just me, because now you know me personally,
Yeah.
but just any disability, you know?
Okay.
So
But
Yeah.
would you back to the dating stuff? Do you
Yeah.
guys would you guys rather date within your community, or does it matter? Like, who cares?
So, in regards to at least the dating website, there's always been a rumor that there's like this website called datealittle.com. Now, I don't know. I've
Really?
typed it in. Yeah, I typed it in and I was like, this looks worse than like freaking match.com
Oh,
or like
ew.
farmers only. I was like, I
Ew.
can't trust this.
Ew.
But like, and the little people, like when
Yeah.
we're at the conventions, that's literally where you're like on the prowl. Like you're trying to like
Yes.
find, because
find your
everybody
dude.
is spread out in the US.
Right.
So, you know, when, I mean, I know I have some little people, friends that are local, but really everybody's out in the US. So, you know, as far as like what I prefer or what people prefer, it's hard to explain. Like, it's kind of, the way I would explain it is that like, I think I've always leaned towards dating a little person, because let me put it this way. Once we're together, once we're even boyfriend and girlfriend, or once we're even married, if I'm having a shitty day, let's say I went to the grocery store, and this happens a lot, but like just in general, I'm having a crappy day, I'm going to the grocery store, and I can't reach something on the top shelf.
Okay.
And then I'm looking everywhere for somebody to ask somebody, can you get that down for me? Or let's say like a teenager is laughing at me in public. I come home, and depending, like nowadays, not a lot of these things that, like those things that happen,
Right.
don't bother me that quickly anymore, or that easily, because I deal with it so often.
Right.
But if I'm just having a really shitty day and everything is bugging me, let's say I come home to my significant other who is average height, not a little person. I'm venting. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is what fucking happened at the store today. Blah, 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 blah. Like, you know, isn't this annoying, babe? And then it's like, wait, how can you relate
Exactly.
to me?
Yeah.
I get it. I get it. Okay.
You can't relate. And
I see
so,
what you're saying.
I
Yeah.
mean, and I'm not saying you can't ever relate.
Right.
You know, like I have average height, you know, friends, average height guy friends.
Right.
Like, not to put you on the spot, Rollo, but if we were to date,
Hey, I am single.
but my my point is like now you know me as a like I feel like, and this opens another can of worms as far as where I'm going to go with that. But, you know, let's just say I have, you know, the perfect average height guy, and it doesn't matter. Like for me, it's, you know, I'm coming home to like talk about like something that just, you know, whatever. And maybe my average height boyfriend or, you know, husband goes through things and I can't relate, you know? So that's it's like a double-edged sword. You really don't like, it kind of goes both ways, but at the same time, I'm also not against it. But not only with that, but it's also the other category, which is the fetish thing.
Right.
Yes.
There's a lot of
I'm
men.
glad
you brought that up.
There's a lot of men that have fetish.
And that's not something you want to get. That's not the real love you want.
No.
You know, I get it. You don't want to deal with that shit.
Yeah. So I think
how do you navigate through that type of stuff, you know?
I honestly, if I had a more direct answer for you,
you just gotta kind of.
You know, I just posted a TikTok the other day about like I was kind of going off because a lot of my DMs, and comments on my videos are a lot of these just men and even older men that could be my father, just saying sexualizing me in the most childish way.
Right.
Can I say that you defended yourself so well? Because when I heard that, I'm like, I'm gonna go off. I'm gonna tell these people off. I'm like, no, this girl got it. My girl got it. My girl, because
I can see you got it. You can handle yours.
No, but you know what? I get so defensive because that's
because
Shelby,
you know me.
Because
so
I
you know
love
what I mean?
you. I love you. And I'm like,
me.
yes. And I'm like, what are they trying to say about her? What the hell? Yeah. Like I get so mad. I'm like, and then I'm like, no, she got this. And I heard the whole thing.
Do you ignore those comments or do you just kind of?
like 99% of the time I ignore them, delete them, block people.
And you
whatever.
did say that.
I
say I could have ignored this, but I'm going to answer this.
Yeah,
and you
I'm like, this is not a sign of weakness. This is me simply not tolerating fucking disrespectful people.
Yeah, that's not
you
cool.
know, like it's. I don't know if men really like fetishize because this is probably unrated, right?
That's okay.
Yeah, no.
So raw opinion.
So like, I don't know if they fetish. I mean, obviously, there's men that like have fetishes for feet.
Yes.
There's for the weirdest things. Okay, I think weird.
Booty.
No
I'm
sense.
not gonna lie. I kind of like feet.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
But no,
Nice
no
manicured
judgment.
feet.
No judgment. But like, I think the heart, like the line where it gets crossed is I can't tell if like they fantasize this because they simply don't know if we can have sex, or because they're so curious. They're like, well, what would it be like if we but I'm like, it's literally just like any other average height woman.
Exactly.
We have the same anatomy. Like,
Hello, yeah.
That's what I'm saying. We're still humans. Like
Yeah.
it's not.
Yeah,
fucking,
it's
like,
all the same thing. It's all
Yes.
the same hose. Come on.
Yes, but but the thing is that the second you start sexualizing little people in a childish way is the moment we start feeling dehumanized and feel like a child, like an object.
I could totally understand that. I could. You don't gotta be a little person to understand that.
No,
that's
so
some bullshit.
I think that's where like another reason why I'm like it's hard because I'm sure there are average height guys who have like possibly really liked me or have, you know, been interested on a more respectful level.
Right.
Yeah.
But I completely have this guard up of like, don't fuck with me because I can
Exactly.
read people like in public too. This happens in public too. They may not be as direct, but I can tell the second a guy is looking at me, I'm like, I know what you're thinking.
Yeah.
And people are like, okay, Shelby, like, how do you, I'm like, don't tell me I don't know because I've been dealing with this like my whole life.
Right.
So it's like anything else, like if you guys, you know, experience things, how like anybody, you know, I would never sit there and be like, oh, how would you know, Norma, that person's looking at you because of whatever reason?
No, I know.
Whatever. Like,
I know.
You know,
Yeah.
like anything, you know, anything.
Right.
So.
Can I say something?
Sure, go ahead.
So I have a friend that has a friend, and I think the
friend of a friend?
Okay, so
Or a
I know the
friend?
LP community is very small and tight, so everybody
No pun
knows.
intended.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, Jesus.
So everybody knows each other, right? So I call this BITCH, and I'm at a bar with my friends or whatever, and I go, "Hey, Shelby, guess what?" She's like, "What?" I said, "I'm gonna hook you up with someone." She's like, "Who?" I go, "So I have a friend that works with a friend that he's a LP." I go, and he makes good money. He works here, and I think you guys would be good. She's like, "What's his name?" And I gave it to her. She's like, "Oh, I already did it. I already got it. I did it. Been there, done that." And I'm like,
She was dying laughing. I was like, Norma, the little people community is very small.
but wrong.
No pun intended.
No pun
No,
intended.
but wrong. I was like, this bitch. I'm like, Shelby, no, been there, done that. I'm like, so next, I'm like, God damn. I'm like,
I said, trust me,
I
like-
thought I was going to hook up like this, be Cupid and hook her up, right?
Yeah.
No, but.
She thought she struck gold, but no, I
God,
said,
she's not, no, been there, done that. I'm like,
Yeah.
really? Like,
Hey, they're doing their thing though. You know,
I
they got their little.
And my
But that's
girl's
another
beautiful,
thing.
but now I'm like overprotective of her. Now I'm like, who are you talking to? Are you sure? I'm
Right.
like, I'm like, what can he offer you? Like, I'm like, no, this girl is like too good to like be true. So I'm kind of like, I
you're
wanna be-
protective.
Yes.
You're protective.
And she has a 75-pound dog that she walks.
Jeez.
Yeah.
A golden retriever, right?
Someone's got to protect me.
Yes.
That's true.
And I love her dog. Anyway, this girl's fearless.
Aw,
That is so
nice.
awesome. Well, I'm glad you're really doing good with your TikTok and
Yes.
you got
Yeah.
some followers and you're very funny. I love some of the TikToks I've seen.
Thank
Yes.
you.
And you have a very good personality. And to me,
Thank you.
you're just a
Amazing.
human being. Yes, little person, but you're a very cool person. You know?
Thank you.
And
Thank you.
I'm happy you educated me now,
Yes.
so I know the right things to
Terms,
say.
the right
There
terms.
you go, terms.
The right
and,
terms.
You know, and hey, I hope I can be a ally to the little people, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'll help educate. You know, and
You have
Thank
to
you.
because you know what? Once you learn a little bit more about the LP community, you do educate people. Like I was
Yeah.
telling my mom, I was telling my sisters like this, and my sister's like, oh, I work with the LP person, or and
Right.
again, my cousin's like 4'6". She's
Right.
and it's still, I think that's still tiny. My grandma
Yeah.
was 4'7". Like I think to
Totally.
us it was tiny, you
Yeah.
know. And I think there's some LPs that are what's considered an LP size.
So technically, they say like you're a little person, like if you're, I think it's like up to 4'8" or 4'11". But
Okay.
I'm like,
Oh.
okay, but
Yeah.
yeah, you could be a little person.
Yeah.
But like that doesn't mean you were born with dwarfism.
Yeah.
Like
you can't
know,
play both sides. You can't be like,
Yeah, like you could be a little person, but that doesn't mean you're a little person who has
Yeah.
dwarfism. Like,
Yeah, got
I
it,
mean, we
got
just
it.
say little person, so it's not so like I
LP.
said, specific. Like,
No,
it's,
and yeah.
and I think I was at a disability panel discussion earlier this week in LA. I was talking to you.
What was it about?
Intimacy.
For little people.
Yes, Victoria's Secret was there, and because they're trying to, develop products hopefully for all disabilities,
Right.
Right,
or
right.
disability. I shouldn't say all because there's a lot of disabilities.
Victoria's Secret's big.
Yeah, yeah, and so basically, like, just people always are like, "Oh, I don't consider you disabled," and I'm like,
Well, you're not.
I see that, but I think the second, if we don't have like a physical category, like if we don't have a category to put us in, I feel like we aren't taken seriously. So
Yeah.
it's like if you just think of us like in not a part, not that I don't want to say labeled, but like if you don't, there are little people who definitely are disabled.
Right.
And that's okay. And I don't
Right.
want to ever shut those down or anything like that,
Right.
because I think why is it bad if we are considered disabled? But I think the second we are not put into a category like that, we're not taken seriously.
Right.
So if you think of the disability community is like the largest minority. Okay,
Yeah.
so you have like the deaf, you have cerebral palsy, you have spina bifida.
Yeah.
You people know about all those disabilities because
Right.
there's so many of them with those disabilities. But with little people, it's like we're still kind of at the end of the line when it comes to being considered. So I think that's kind of, when it comes to that being taken seriously, like
Right.
I see why people are like, you're not disabled. And I'm like, I don't want you to think of it badly. Like it's not
Right.
a bad thing, but
Right.
yes, I have a physical difference, and yes, I'm pretty able-bodied, but that doesn't mean, it's
Right.
not okay. It's just, I feel like we should have a category to be put in, if we, for lack of better words. So
No, yeah. Well, Shelby, we appreciate you coming and educating
Thank you.
us, educating our viewers,
Yes.
educating everybody, because you know what? It was something that, like he said, he wasn't aware of a lot of
right,
things.
right.
Yeah.
You educated me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you really did. And we're going to have you back.
We have
thanks,
to.
guys.
We have to have you
Thank
back.
you.
Look at that smile. How can
I
you not?
know,
Such a
girl.
bright. You're a
Thank
little
you.
person, but you got a big personality, girl.
I
you know
know,
what I'm saying?
girl. Your personality is bigger than this room.
Oh,
Thank you so much for coming on here and
course.
representing for them the right way.
Thank
know?
you.
Yeah.
Thank you for
So
having me.
everybody, please.
Oh yeah, where can they follow?
Yeah,
her?
yeah, where can you follow us?
Shout out
Okay,
your
so you guys can follow me at Shelby and then _ Holloway. So HOLLOWAY on TikTok.
TikTok.
Yes,
All
yes,
right.
ma'am. So follow her and then subscribe to our channel.
Yes.
Yes, please do,
And again,
guys.
get educated on the LP community. And
Yes.
again, it's called LP. They are considered LP, little people.
Yes.
Please.
Right.
Thank you, everybody, for joining our episode number
6.
Yes. Oh my God. 6.
Yeah,
Thank you,
6.
everybody.
Thank you, Shelby.
Thank you, Shelby, for
Yay.
coming. Thank you.